am choosing not to use the outline for the additional 7 points. I would now like to introduce my audience. When we think of wisdom, we generally think of philosophers such as Socrates and Aristotle. However, everyday wisdom can be as easy as being patient and practical in our everyday lives. I recently bought my first car and learned quite a bit about being patient and practical throughout the entire process. I'm sure most of you have or will buy a car at some point in your life, and being patient and practical throughout the process is crucial. Since I just went through the car buying process, I feel confident enough to tell you a few things you should and should not be doing. I'm going to cover 2 main points: research to find the perfect car, and proper inspection of the car once you have found it. I did a lot of research on lots of different cars and took into account all different considerations that fit into my lifestyle. I was not, however, patient once I found the car. I was so excited that I chose not to test drive the car, and as soon as we finalized the paperwork, I drove it home. I then had to return to a few days later because of issues with the car. Buying your first car is very exciting, but you have to be practical and patient about the process. When finding the right car, you need to do a lot of research and take everything into account. I researched a lot of different websites and visited a couple different dealerships. This was important so that I had a broad range of cars to start with. Once I was narrowing it down to a couple different cars, I was able to communicate to friends and family who had previously owned cars that were similar or the same. This was beneficial to get feedback. I then had to consider what kind of car was best for my lifestyle. I travel a lot, so I needed to make sure the car had great gas mileage and was eco-friendly and had plenty enough space for traveling luggage and people. Now that I talked about finding the right car, let me discuss the importance of the inspection of the car. Even through the excitement of wanting to drive off the lot with your new car, you must test drive it to make sure it drives as well as it looks. Once I was at the dealership and decided on the perfect car for me, I jumped right into getting all of the paperwork finalized so that I could drive it home. Once I got home, a few days passed and I found a few problems with the car. I had to contact the dealership and take out of my work week to take it back and get fixed. I ended up having to have a rental car for a few days, and then I had to take more time out of my work week to pick the car back up. I also need to mention that I live 30 minutes away from the dealership. This all could have been avoided if I would have taken the time to test drive the car around the block. I knew that it looked great from the outside, but I should have asked all the right questions about the car. I should have taken my time instead of being impatient about getting it home right away. I also should have gotten a good contact number to call if I were to experience any issues. Instead, I had to call the main dealership and go through a few different people before I got the consultant that I bought the car from. I learned throughout the process that taking your time to research and find the perfect car for your lifestyle and being patient enough to fully inspect and test drive the car before finalizing anything is very important and can prevent you from any inconvenience down the road.